Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. Our top focus comes in from West Asia. Rebel leader Abu Muhammad Al-Jolani has said that all of the rebel factions will be disbanded. The fighters will join the country's defense ministry. The Yahya Saree al-Sham leader has also called for the removal of international sanctions on Syria. Jolani also said there must be a social contract between the state and all the regions and religions in order to ensure social justice. Syria's former president Bashar al-Assad issued his first statement on Monday after being ousted. He said fleeing from Syria was never an option and he didn't abandon his country. But Russia evacuated him due to the rebel-led offensive in Damascus. Calling rebels as terrorists, Assad said he had moved to Latakia in northwest Syria after they infiltrated the capital. He also called himself a leader dedicated to a national vision. Yemen-based Houthis said they fired a ballistic missile at a military target in central Israel's Jaffa. Houthi spokesperson said the operation was successful. The Israeli military said the missile was intercepted before crossing Israeli territory. Houthis have repeatedly targeted Israel with drones and missiles after the Gaza war erupted. They say their attacks are in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. U.S. forces carried out an airstrike against a Houthi command center. The control facility was used by the Yemen-based rebels to coordinate attacks. U.S. forces in West Asia said the Houthis targeted its warships and merchant vessels from the same facility. It added the strike reflected Central Command's commitment to protect its regional partners. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump launched a stern warning for Hamas on Monday. He threatened the group of repercussions if it doesn't release Israeli hostages by the 20th of January. Trump will be taking oath as the 47th president of the U.S. on the same day. He described it as a recap warning during a press conference in the U.S. state of Florida. The president-elect made the comment after a conversation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has said that he would speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to bring an end to the war. He said he was troubled by the quote-unquote carnage caused due to the conflict. He also said in an interview last week that he has a very good plan to bring the war to an end. Trump has vowed to end the war between Russia and Ukraine in just a day, but hasn't given details on how he plans to do it. Ukraine's military intelligence agency reported that at least 30 North Korean troops died or sustained injuries while fighting for Russia in Kursk region. North Korean troops incurred heavy losses during the battle with Ukraine's soldiers over the weekend. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia was using North Korean troops in significant numbers for the first time in Kursk. Now, these are the first reported casualties since Ukraine and the U.S. accused North Korea of sending troops to Russia to help it fight in the war. A teenage shooter opened fire at a school campus in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. A teacher and a student lost their lives and 6 others sustained injuries. The shooter, reportedly a 17-year-old girl, turned the gun on herself after opening fire. The shooter was also a student of the same school. Iran's National Security Council has paused the implementation of the controversial hijab and chastity law. The law was set to come into effect last Friday. However, President Masoud Pezeshkian called the legislation ambiguous and in need of reform. He signaled his intention to reassess its measures. The proposed law was heavily criticized by human rights activists. Schools and offices remain closed for the 3rd consecutive day in Iran. Malls and shopping centers have also been ordered to limit their working hours and close 2 hours earlier. This as Iran faces fuel shortage across the country due to a lack of gas and fuel to feed its power plants. The dire situation has caused frequent power cuts. President Masoud Pezeshkian has apologized to the nation. He has also promised that the power crisis would be solved by next year. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz lost a confidence vote on Monday. This paves the way for snap elections, which will be held on the 23rd of February. Scholz, whose coalition collapsed in November, called the vote knowing that he would lose. He later asked the president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, to dissolve the legislature. Scholz will remain in a caretaker role until a new government is formed. Canadian Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland resigned abruptly on Monday. She was also the country's finance minister. This comes after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump warned that he will impose 25% tariffs on goods from Canada. Freeland accused Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of engaging in costly political gimmicks and not focusing on countering the grave threat of tariffs. Trudeau's former ally, Jagmeet Singh, also called for Trudeau's resignation hours after Freeland's exit. 11 Indians were found dead in a restaurant in Georgia. As per reports, they all worked at the same restaurant. Preliminary reports indicate that carbon monoxide poisoning was the likely cause of the death. Meanwhile, authorities are investigating to find out the source of the toxic gas. South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol received an ultimatum to appear for questioning on the 21st of December. He has been summoned over briefly declaring martial law in the country. Yoon was impeached on the 14th of December following his decision. He is being investigated over the alleged insurrection by South Korean prosecutors, a charge that Yoon's lawyers have rejected. The impeached president might be arrested if he does not appear for the questioning. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck the Pacific island nation of Vanuatu today. At least one person was killed. The earthquake triggered a brief tsunami warning, which was later removed. Aid agencies reported widespread damage across the 12,000 square kilometer territory. In climate news, France is deploying ships and military aircraft to its Indian Ocean territory of Mayotte after the island was battered by Cyclone Chido. Authorities have reported at least 25 deaths, with 45 others in critical condition. However, officials believe the death toll could rise to hundreds. Chido is one of the worst storms to hit the island in a century. In India, as air quality in the capital New Delhi and surrounding regions deteriorated to very poor levels on Monday, authorities rolled out emergency measures to combat the rising pollution. The Central Pollution Control Board recorded an air quality index of 379. In response, schools were instructed to switch to hybrid classes, federal government offices were urged to stagger working hours, and vehicle restrictions were imposed. And Bosnia and Herzegovina is on track to record its hottest year in 2024, marking the third consecutive year of breaking annual heat records. This is according to the country's Institute of Meteorology. Now, the heat wave, coupled with below-average rainfall, triggered a severe drought that dried up one of Bosnia's largest lakes and increased landslide risks due to loosening soil. In South Africa's Sasolburg, a major coal-to-liquid refinery which looms over the nearby townships has left residents grappling with its devastating effects of air pollution. Residents are experiencing severe breathing issues. Sasolburg and the Highveld coal belt are among South Africa's most polluted regions, where studies link air pollution to lung inflammation and asthma in children. A heron in Rio de Janeiro took flight after veterinarians successfully removed a plastic cup blocking its throat, a near-fatal obstruction that prevented the bird from eating. The rescue spotlighted the growing impact of plastic pollution on wildlife in Brazil's iconic seaside city. After 2 weeks of concern, the bird was released into a nearby neighborhood. And on to business and tech news now. Bitcoin continued to surge on hopes of friendly policies from the incoming Trump administration. The world's largest cryptocurrency has now touched a new record high of $107,000. The inclusion of the MicroStrategy into the Nasdaq 100 index also lifted investor sentiment. MicroStrategy remains the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Nigeria's anti-corruption agency has arrested 792 people in a raid in Lagos. The raid was conducted at a luxury building where fraudsters operated a call center. It was used to lure victims with offers of romance and force them into buying fake cryptocurrencies. Among those detained were 148 Chinese nationals and 40 Filipinos. Shares of health insurer firms, including CVS Health, Cigna, and United Health, plunged yesterday. This is after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said that he would eliminate middlemen from the healthcare sector. Trump was referring to pharmacy benefit managers who negotiate drug costs with pharmacies and manufacturers. Trump said that middlemen make more money than the drug companies. Meanwhile, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has received a $100 billion investment commitment from Japan's SoftBank Group. Trump announced the deal at an event at his Mar-a-Lago resort, alongside SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son. Now, SoftBank said that the investment will create about 100,000 jobs in artificial intelligence and other technologies. And the U.S. Commerce Department has reportedly taken another step to crack down on Chinese telecom firms. Last week, they sent a letter to their American units. It outlined the national security risks that these firms pose in the U.S. According to the Biden administration, it reportedly said that Chinese telecom firms operating in U.S. cloud or internet networks could exploit American data. The transition team of incoming U.S. President Donald Trump is reportedly planning to roll back several electric vehicle policies. Now, they have recommended that Trump cut off support for electric vehicles and charging stations and raise tariffs to block electric car and battery material imports from China. They are also reportedly considering ending a tax credit program introduced by President Joe Biden. A Chinese man has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for stealing trade secrets from electric car giant Tesla. 59-year-old Klaus Flugel has pleaded guilty to selling Tesla's battery manufacturing secrets to an undercover FBI agent. Now, the U.S. Justice Department has also charged his partner with stealing trade secrets, but he remains at large. And Chinese social media platform TikTok has moved the Supreme Court against a U.S. law. The law aims to ban TikTok by the 19th of January if its Chinese parent does not sell it. The platform argues that it violates the First Amendment rights of millions of American users. Meanwhile, TikTok's CEO Shou Chu reportedly met with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump yesterday, and after the meeting, Trump said that he has a warm spot for TikTok. And Meta Platforms has settled a case related to the Cambridge Analytica scandal in Australia. It will pay about $32 billion to settle the case brought by Australia's privacy watchdog. The social media giant was accused of disclosing some users' personal information to a market research agency. The scandal, first reported in 2018, led to severe backlash for Facebook and its parent company Meta. Meanwhile, Meta has announced 3 new features for its Ray-Ban smart glasses. These include live artificial intelligence capabilities and live translation. Now, these Meta glasses can see what users see and answer real-time questions. New Ray-Ban Meta glasses also support real-time translation for Spanish, French, and Italian to English. And moving to sports news, and we start with cricket. Rain in Brisbane continued to interrupt the third test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy between India and Australia. Australia scored 445 runs in their first innings. In response, on day 4, India scored 259 runs after losing 9 wickets before the end of the day's play. The 5-match series remains tied at 1-1. Meanwhile, Australian pacer Josh Hazlewood is likely to miss the rest of the Border Gavaskar Test series. This is due to a calf injury that he sustained during the third test against India. On day 4 of the third test, Cricket Australia said that Hazlewood will not play for the rest of the match. Hazlewood only played the first test of the series. He was previously ruled out of the second test due to a side strain. And Bangladesh beat West Indies by 7 runs in the first of their 3-match T20 international series. Batting first, Bangladesh scored 147 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. West Indies were all out at 140 runs with 1 ball remaining. With this win, Bangladesh lead the 3-match series 1-0. And New Zealand beat England by 423 runs in the third test match. England were chasing a mammoth target of 658 runs on day 4. However, they were all out of just 234 runs. For New Zealand, Mitchell Starc had struck a match-winning performance with his 4-wicket haul in the second innings. Having won the first 2 matches already, England won the 3-match test series 2-1. And in football news, the Premier League clash between West Ham and Bournemouth concluded in a tie. West Ham's Lucas Paqueta scored the first goal late in the game after converting a penalty. Now, Bournemouth's Enes Ünal had denied West Ham a win. The Turkish forward scored an equaliser just before the end of regular time. And Legends beat Barcelona 1-0 in a La Liga match. Gonzalez scored the only goal of the game in the 4th minute, while Barcelona had several opportunities to score an equaliser. The home side failed to make a breakthrough. And African Football Governing Body, CAF, have announced the annual African Players of the Year awards. Nigerian forward Ademola Lookman has been named as Best Men's Player of the Year. Zambia's Barbara Banda won the top award in the women's category. And Global Football Governing Body FIFA will announce the Best Players of the Year later today. 11 men and 16 women were named as nominees for the Best Men's and Women's Players Award. FIFA will also honor the best goalkeepers and coaches in men's and women's football. The ceremony will be live-streamed from Qatar's capital, Doha. In tennis news, Nick Kyrgios will join forces with Novak Djokovic in the men's doubles event at the Brisbane International. The 29-year-old Australian announced his pairing with Djokovic through an Instagram post. And the tournament, considered a warm-up before the Australian Open, will begin on the 29th of December. And UK Sports Governing Body announced an investment worth over $418 million. The investment is aimed to prepare UK athletes for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. This is the largest investment in the UK Olympic history. In a statement, the UK Sports said that the investment will deliver inspiration and impact in the country. And moving on to some news from the world of showbiz. A Brazilian judge has ordered Adele's song Million Years Ago to be pulled worldwide, including from streaming platforms. This comes following a plagiarism claim by a Brazilian composer. He claims that the song bears nearly identical melodic elements to his song from 1995. The injunction threatens Sony and Universal's Brazilian subsidiaries with an $8,000 fine for non-compliance. And Indian singer Diljit Dosanjh surprised fans by announcing that he won't perform in India again until live concert infrastructure improves. Addressing the crowd, the Lovers singer urged the government to invest in concert infrastructure, pointing out its potential to generate significant revenue and employment. The singer is set to conclude his Dil Luminati tour with a final show on the 29th of December. And according to reports, a Barbie sequel is in the works. Reports suggest that the Oscar-nominated writers Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach have developed an idea for a follow-up, although Warner Brothers and the filmmakers have denied the reports. The project is still in its early stages, with discussions underway. And James Gunn has unveiled the motion poster of David Corenswet, star as Superman. The poster also features the film's theme song, Karen Sweat is seen speeding up in the clip in the iconic Superman costume, and the film will release in July of next year. And the makers of the film Wicked have renamed its sequel as Wicked for Good. The sequel will star Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo in the lead roles. The story will revolve around the origins of the lead characters. The film will hit theaters next year. Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans star Red One has become Amazon Prime Video's most watched film debut ever on the streaming platform. The film got 50 million global viewers in its opening weekend. Red One is still playing in theaters. And according to reports, actor Mason Gooding will reprise his role in Scream 7. He was seen in the role of Chadwick Martin. However, the actor has not commented on it yet. Neve Campbell will also return for the 7th installment after skipping the 6th film due to salary disputes. And actor Angelina Jolie revealed in an interview that she feels lonely amid her court battle with Brad Pitt. The actor said that she yearns for companionship. In 2022, Pitt filed a lawsuit against Jolie, accusing her of unlawfully selling her winery shares without his approval. And according to reports, actor Al Pacino and Noor Al-Fallah were spotted together at a film screening, and this comes after the actor confirmed that they have parted ways. They welcomed a son named Roman last year. Al Pacino and Noor Al-Fallah were romantically linked in 2022. And finally, actor Kirsten Bell will be hosting the 2025 SAG Awards on Netflix. The actor said in a statement that she is honored to host the awards. Bell had hosted the ceremony previously in 2018 for its 24th edition. The 2025 SAG Awards is on the 23rd of February next year and will stream live on Netflix. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to First Post.